license.
Right.
All right, 6 o'clock, close enough? We're gonna have to keep it open for a while anyway. Okay, folks, tonight we're gonna have two things on the agenda. First, we'll have a public hearing on some funds that are available for us to accept, and then we'll have a normal selectmen's meeting. So I'd like to open the public hearing pursuant to the requirements of the RSA 31:95B. We're holding a public hearing today. The purpose of this hearing is to discuss accepting appropriate highway block grant funds in the amount of $28,058.28. This is available under Senate Bill 38. The conditions, background. This is from the DOT. SB 38, local highway aid, is specifically intended to be used for highway purposes that do not already have locally budgeted and approved funding. The funding is not to be used to supplant funds that are already locally budgeted and approved funds for road or bridge maintenance or construction activities. For example, SB 38 funding can be used to do additional paving beyond what was approved, what has approved funding. SB 38 funding can be used for portions of local highways such as sidewalks, drainage, pavement markings, traffic signs, guardrails, bridges, etc. SB 38 funding can be used as a match for, SB 38 funding can be used as the match for municipal bridge projects or phases of projects that do not have locally funding already approved. So there's some examples. Any public input? We will wait a few minutes to see if any public comes that might want to share some input.
If I could just raise it. So this money could be made available for the Moose Mountain Bridge project?
Next year.
Yes. Well, yeah, obviously.
Yes, the purpose of tonight is, do we want to take the money?
Right. So that's what I'm getting at, though. This money could be a nice chunk going towards what's going to be a relatively expensive project for us.
Could, because we didn't raise the money yet.
Right. We're getting there, but we still need a sizable chunk.
Yeah,
So we could earmark this money for that.
I think so. We raised the money for the engineering portion.
Mm-hmm.
Rose, are you public?
I'm public.
I move that we accept the money.
We don't do that here. We do that at a Board of Selectmen's meeting. We just take input now.
Okay.
What we're doing now is taking input at a Board of Selectmen's meeting. We will make a motion to accept the money, if we want to do that based upon what we want to do in public input.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
This funding is not federal funding. It is your tax money that has been sitting in a DOT account. It took the legislature to vote to release that money. That's what this SB 38 is about. So I would be in full favor of accepting this money for our infrastructure. And I believe it's non-lapsing, so I believe this money should be available every year.
I don't know what that means. We don't have to spend it next year. What is
It's non-lapsing because the SB 38 will make this money, a percentage of that money available every year. Is my
Percentage, any
understanding.
surplus every year, right?
That's in that account. That's in the DOT account.
Oh.
That will be pulled from. That is my understanding.
So there could be more money coming next year if there's money available in that account.
It'll arrive to the towns just as the block grants would. And I had a copy of SB 38. I don't know if you have the actual
No.
bill, because that actually explained it in pretty good detail.
Okay.
So I approve. I wish you approve.
You recommend?
I recommend.
Thank you.
And Mary, just Rich brought up that we raised money for the engineering.
Mm-hmm.
This money would go towards the actual construction, not the engineering. So I think, was that what you're asking me?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, Rich, we've already paid engineering, that's done. this money would specifically go towards the actual construction of the bridge.
Or some other project.
Right, okay. Well, we would
Yeah.
focus on the bridge. So that's why.
Yep, that was mine.
See if we want to cash the check.
Right?
What was the amount again?
$28,058.28.
And I think from what I showed the letter to the auditor, I think he indicated we probably would have to do a warrant article to just make sure the money moves to next year if we decide to use it
So
next
keep it
year
out of the
instead.
operating budget so we don't lose it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, say that again?
My understanding when I spoke with the auditor was that we would probably have to do a warrant article to keep the money available next year
If we don't spend it
if we don't spend it this year.
next year. We're not,
Next year, right.
we can't spend it this year, we didn't appropriate it.
Right.
Right, so we're just accepting, next year we can spend.
Yes.
And if we don't spend next year, that's when we'll do the warrant article to bump it into a trust. Right?
Yeah,
We
so-
have to put a trust, right?
Well, someone told me that we have, the people from New Hampshire Municipal Association, the lawyer there said the money's good until the end of next year.
Right,
You have to spend it next year, or you lose it.
right.
We can spend it.
Yeah,
We'll find a way.
I figured we could.
How much money do we have in the bridge capital? I don't remember what page those are in.
Towards the end.
There we go.
No, keep going. One more.
There
Yeah,
we go.
one more page, probably, because that's.
Yeah, that's all the. So we have the Moose Mountain Bridge account. We currently have $15,000 in there. But have we-
Isn't that what we added, or is that what's in there? Gotta watch it.
Beginning balance was 15, what did we add? The warrant was 25?
Yeah, you gotta look at that, you gotta add it.
That's right.
Don't remember. So it's 15 plus.
We put 30 in there, so we now have close to 45 in there, but
The job's
Did-
gonna be close to 100.
did we use any of that money for the engineering then?
Yeah.
How much was the engineering, so?
We said
Here.
15,000. That might have been 50% of the engineering.
Yeah, I thought the engineering was more
We
than
didn't
that.
give them a deposit.
So I'm just trying to think how much money we're gonna have in there, is we're gonna need to. Of what?
Just doing the budget. Hey, 10 minutes long enough?
I think so.
Okay, any other input on the hearing? Thank you for your input. The hearing is closed.
I was just trying to fill space.
You can do, now you're using this battery up. We're using your battery up by closing the hearing. So that's what we have to do, number 3.
Wait a minute, but didn't we move this road maintenance equipment money?
I think so. I thought
It was
there
like
more
50
like,
it
I
was
think
like
there was
50
more like 60,000 in the thing.
It was 52 Gs we moved from the town maintenance equipment fund that we warranted the close, right? To close that fund.
Check the warrants. Come on. I can't remember all this, right? We did, that's right.
And we moved the 51
Because we were
grand.
close to,
Now he's accepting money in the public hearing.
Pardon?
The acceptance of election shall be made in a public session. Public regular board of selectmen meeting.
Just public session is redundant, as a selectman board meeting is public.
Yeah. So- Well, yeah, it should be, but we'll do it at 6:30. Take the money, put where the cash to check. I keep saying that, don't I?
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, cut that. Is Ed coming tonight? I don't know. Did we owe money?
He put his bill in,
You put his bill in already.
I don't see that we did that.
I think we did.
I'm just trying, I thought we did. Town raised money,
Look for the big number.
that's what I was looking for.
Did we do it the year before?
See if the town will raise and appropriate $32,000, well, that's just the road. Spend on the trust.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Turn the phone off.
Can I make a quick comment?
Here, we're not in session. We stop the hearing, at 6:30, we'll start the board of selectmen.
After looking this up, when I said that it will be available every year, that was incorrect. It's from the designated certain surplus funds through the 2016-2017 biennial budget. So it's not every year.
It's on tape.
But it could also, this could also be, actually,
Could change next year.
it could be submitted again.
Yeah.
Or it could be made so it does not say 2016, 2017. And the amount that the state says that was in the account is
30 million.
30 million.
We got 28,000. How was it allocated? It was allocated by the number of miles of
Miles of
road.
road.
I thought that's what I heard. Okay, folks, at 6:30, I'll call the Board of Selectmen meeting to order. Brad, did you lead tonight?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We don't have any scheduled speakers. We're going to approve some meeting minutes. We have 3 sets. We've got the non-public.
You want to do those first?
Sure.
Okay. I make a motion to accept the August 22nd non-public meeting minutes as drafted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yep. Next one is August 22nd. Regular meeting.
I make a motion to accept the August 22nd minutes as drafted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the last one is the special one we had on August 26th.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Abstain, I was absent.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Any public comments this evening?
Just the usual.
Yes, sir.
What's the time frame on the completion of the road?
Right now, we have no schedule for that, because
No.
we're waiting to relocate the pole. So
Wow.
we're making plans.
You
to-
can't do that without the...
We're making plans to keep it dirt throughout the winter.
Oh, are you?
So
Okay.
that's, you can't pave anymore, you can't get blacktop.
I think you have a little time left to do that.
Well, okay, thank you for your input.
Mm.
We think we're gonna go through it with dirt.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Any other public comments? Okay, let's accept some money. What do you think, folks?
Yes.
What do you think? Want to make a motion?
I move we accept the 28,
No, it's two. Let's get the right one.
28,058, let's get the right number.
There you go.
28,058, 28, authorized by Senate Bill 38.
Second,
Second motion?
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, it's our money. Cash to check. Treasurer's report.
So, cash in the bank, we currently have about $760,000 in the bank. I have not called the investment company yet, but I'll probably try to call this week and see what I can do, what procedure they need to invest some of this money with them until we need it, probably around November or December. So I will contact them and I'll keep you posted.
Have you done a rough cash flow analysis?
Very rough.
And where I'm coming from is because of the school budget. The
Yep.
school building is way up, and we didn't get any tax revenue for that.
Right. But the next few months aren't as high. So this month is only 35,000.
Okay.
So they don't start to go up again until January and February. So the next couple of months are 70,000 each. So it wouldn't be as bad. We will have a Wakefield bill as well, but, which would be about 70,000 as I recall.
So 350.
Yep, so.
Okay, then we're
All right.
really, yeah.
So, a couple other things. I haven't updated the insurance files with Primex for our property and general liability. And we also received a new workers' comp form that needed to be posted, which I've done in the common office as far as our policy for workers' compensation. So those are both done. I have come up with a new check manifest form that the auditor has approved, and so tonight we'll move to that. There's one for AP for checks that need to be written, and one for payroll.
Will you walk us through that, what you think that process is going to be like?
So, sure, my understanding, and I think what I've seen at other towns is, instead of reading each individual check, you will just indicate that we are, you're signing off on a manifest to write this amount of checks, that the total that's at the bottom. And so there would be one for payroll and one for AP, depending on what selectmen's meeting we're at. And then a copy of this would go with the minutes. It would need, the manifest amount would need to be approved and mentioned in the minutes of the meeting. So you will get a copy of this to attach to the minutes as well. Once it's signed. That's my understanding. Any questions?
Okay.
And I did do the expenses and revenue through August, so I have those for you. And I'll put one in the common office as we start getting closer to budget time. It will be available for any committees or boards that need to see what they've spent so far this year.
Okay. Thank you for that. The SB money we just accepted,
Yes,
you're going to put that into a trust fund? Like, what's the name of the trust fund for Moose Mountain?
the road,
The Moose Mountain Bridge repair?
Bridge repair, is that where you're going to park the money? You have to park it someplace in the trust fund, yes?
can I do that without a warrant
I
article?
was just gonna ask that. You can't put money into a trust without.
I don't know the answer to that.
I don't either.
I will write someone at DRA
Okay.
and see.
Because we have to be careful we don't lose it when we do the end of the year books.
I understand.
So it's going to be parked in a trust fund so we don't lose it.
I understand that,
Okay.
but I also think there has to be a warrant article to keep it for next year.
I
Or
understand
next
that.
year's, yeah.
But we
So
close the books before the town meeting,
we do,
so,
with any luck.
yes, with any luck. Therefore,
Let me write to DRA and see what I have to do,
thank you.
certainly.
Okay, anything else, Mary Lou?
Nothing at the moment.
Can I ask you a question about, no, we won't do that. No.
Go ahead.
No, we're not gonna do that.
Okay.
Not doing it. Tax collector.
Yes, I have some abatements forms I need signed today. Usually I have done them, all my abatements right at the end of the, not done the abatements, but had them signed by you at the end of the end of the year. Has come to my attention that there's been some money that has been kind of loose out there that nobody, or a lack of money that was questioned where it was. So I thought maybe it'd be better if I did and had this abatement signed by you more frequently than wait until the end of the year.
What do you mean by money?
Well, I heard that there was within the treasurer, there was $91 that
It was abated, I didn't know.
was abated
Oh,
that she
okay,
did not,
okay,
and I
sorry.
wasn't aware of. I have two here that are State of New Hampshire Fish and Game. The $91, which was the 2016 second bill. The reason it wasn't done with the others in 2016 was because we weren't aware of it at that time. These are both errors that were made in the assessing department. They should have been considered exempt when the property was sold to Fish and Game. The other two are for property of Broderick, and they are yield taxes. And apparently the incorrect calculation was made the first time they were done. So I had to abate those two, and I was reissued new warrants for those.
A lot of
So,
cleanup work.
Hmm?
A lot of cleanup work.
yeah, basically that's what it is, but if we need to have more, excuse me, if we need to have more accountability on my end to keep things running smoother, then I will do that.
I think what we have to do is we've talked about scheduling in order with the accounting firm. And it's time maybe, because you're done with you, you've been meeting.
Yes, I
almost
still
two,
have
three-
to do, I've been meeting monthly with him. I canceled this month because he's after me to write some lengthy procedures, and I don't have the time before next week to write like 10, 12 pages of procedures, so. But yes, I have been meeting with him monthly.
So it might be time to move some of this focus to the tax collector office, not the tax collector methodology for keeping track of the taxes, but the way the departments communicate. So we'll just let him review that and see what he suggests we do there. Okay, so
So I have a lot of signatures I need.
Nonsense.
There's two of each. One is,
okay.
I don't know, one stays with me and one stays with you. Whoever.
We don't have to do it right now, so why don't we
You
just go
don't want to do
through them?
them now?
Well, we'll approve them, but we can sign them a little later. We don't have to sign them real time.
Okey-doke.
Keep moving along. So, could I see them, please? These are the ones that we're going to make a motion to approve.
Dan, while you're here, quick question. Has the agreement with the Weeks property, have they got up to snuff?
Everything is fine.
Okay.
Well, payments are being made timely since the second letter was sent.
Okay, that's what I was.
Anything in arrears prior to that is not
But we're back into
been taken
payment
care
mode.
of, but the payment seems to be. And whenever there is a month that it is not, if I do not receive it within a few days of the beginning of the month, I will definitely let you people know right off the bat.
All right, good, so they're back at it now.
With either of those two that we're doing the partial payments on,
Gotcha.
or prepayments, makeup payments, whatever you want, however you
Yeah,
want
we
to
know
do
what you
them.
mean. Thank you.
Okay.
So we've got 4 abatements in front of us. I guess we make a motion to approve them.
Okay. I'll make a motion, we accept the abatements as the tax collector presented to us.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we'll sign those as soon as the meeting's over. We don't have to do that in real time. All right. What else do we have here? Anything else, Diana?
Nope, that's it for me. Well, I guess just thinking ahead to, the next billing cycle. And, while I have your ear, I will bring up the question as to what we're gonna do as far as the newsletter and things like that. Because it's never too early to start with it, I know. I'm just playing the devil's advocate here, I don't.
I can get an answer for that. We're working on having some people take that over. So as soon as I know if they're in agreement with that, I'll let you know.
I think we need to, well, if you are having somebody else take it over, we want, it's better to work ahead than behind.
Right.
And I guess your message to us, if everything goes well, the tax bills should go out close to November 1st.
If everything goes well. Yeah.
Which is 6 weeks. You're right, September, yeah, 6 weeks, so that's what we're up against,
Can't believe it, yeah, you're right.
right? So that's why you mentioned it, because it's right around the corner.
I know. Well, I mention it mainly because it sneaks up on us every single year.
Yes, it does.
Can't believe it's happening.
I know, I'm not ready for that.
Diane, don't hurry on my account.
Okay, I won't.
How much time do you need to put them in the envelopes?
Oh, a matter of hours usually, because that's, I'm good at that. I have my husband well trained.
So
to-
October 31st is okay?
Yeah, huh?
That's usually all you have.
Yeah.
Yep, yes, it is. We've been very fortunate to hit November 1st.
Okay.
We, I
Very
think,
fortunate.
I think we have done it once since I've been tax collector.
Well, we did the last 3 years. We had
Well,
due the
no,
15th,
we-
right?
Yeah, not the first, 15.
We have to do
But I
this.
think last year, one was the first time we ever actually hit November 1.
We have to,
And I don't believe we did a newsletter that time.
we have to get the, no, because we ran out of time. We have to get
Try to make it.
the MS1 to the state.
Yeah.
We asked for
An extension.
extension because we don't hit the rates of the utilities.
It just has to get to.
So they're supposed to be available by the end of the month. So that's the earliest we'll give them the MS1, and then we can go through the tax rate process as soon as they get to us.
Just print them right in.
Okay. Planning, you done, Diana?
Yes, I am.
Planning board, anything from the planning board?
There's nothing new to report from the last report that we're working on, the master plan, that I just had realized that. What is the date that we're gonna send the letters out for, and the tax bills?
The earliest we can do, we shoot for November 1st.
Okay, I bring this up because the planning board is working on a survey for the master plan.
Oh, that's right.
Can we put that in the same envelope? Or do you think?
You're talking 3-4 pages.
No.
You'll throw the weight off. And
We're actually just sort of squeaking through with this newsletter. Many years ago, when we decided to do a newsletter, I did get permission from DRA to add something in the envelope with the tax bills. They said, yes, we could add a newsletter, but I wouldn't dare add any more. Also, it would make them, if it's 3 or 4 pages, that's, 4 pages is pretty much all you can put in an envelope without it being overweight. which, you know, would mean them going through at the post office every single envelope and weighing it and adding more postage to it.
I brought it up only because if we could save
Yeah.
money and time, having it be, you know, kind of.
Oh, I think it
one
would be
thing.
nice, you know, if it could be part of the, you know, the newsletter, but it has to be much more extensive than that, so, because it's a whole questionnaire that's going out, right?
Yes.
You know?
Okay,
So
yeah,
what
okay.
will the planning board header on it? And a letter from the planning board.
I just brought it up, just.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always a good thought, you know?
You skip Laura,
I did, I put a star here. I skipped Lori.
I don't have much to report anyway, other than those letters went out for the propane. Bids do accept one and not the other ones.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? Thank you, Brian. Planning board was done. Code enforcement officer, road agent's not here. Conservation Commission. There was a meeting last week. We had the conservation officer there, Ken St. Pierre, and a biologist from Plymouth to talk about opportunities for the land on Lyford Road. She presented some opportunities for grant money. There was a whole list of opportunities, and the Conservation Commission's gonna take a look at it and see how they wanna move forward. Fair? You were there, fair?
Yep, that grant money comes from Fish and Game, and it's money that is given by hunters. So their stipulation on using the money is that the land remain open for hunting.
For 5 years.
For
5 years after the grant, but that's not an issue with us because it's open, so. And the biologist was willing to walk the land with the Conservation Commission people to try to suggest some opportunities for improving the lot. Heritage Commission's up.
Heritage Commission, so, it's been a month, but we had the annual town barbecue in August, and we had, I think, 2 or 3 less people than last year, so it was a very good attendance. We really appreciate everybody coming out and supporting the town. It was really, I think, a good event this year, so we will be meeting tomorrow night at 7 o'clock here in the town offices to review it and see what we liked, what we didn't like, and if there's anyone has suggestions, we're certainly open to them. So I think that's probably it.
Okay.
Oh, we probably will be doing a Veterans Day dinner as well, so usually around Veterans Day, which is November 11th. So we'll try and get publicity out on that as well.
Okay. Cemetery trustees are not here. They're meeting on the 21st. And the other boards and committees, Brad, you're on the agenda for an update.
Awesome.
That's not red.
Personality, but I know it's that good. As many of you may know, as the board's aware, on September 2nd, Saturday of Labor Day weekend, on Memorial Day, we had a brush fire up on Tumbledown Dick on the ledges. It was the one day out of the entire summer that had a high fire danger to it. It was during the 2 weeks I was in Colorado, so that didn't help a lot. But it was spotted from Wolfboro. The tone went out close to 9:30 in the morning. Wakefield responded and found the fire, put out a first alarm, which brought quite a few towns.
Then a little later on, they put out a general alarm for ATVs, utility vehicles to haul water in because of the site location. There was a total of 9 communities responding, as far north as Madison and Acton out of Maine. 2 ambulance services. The fire was placed and extinguished at about 5:45. So it was 7 hours. They were a little over 7 hours that they were in there. And then Wakefield went back in Sunday the 3rd to extinguish hotspots. And then they went in Monday the 4th to patrol the property once again and found no additional hotspots or fires. It was between an acre and an acre and a half. The problem is the ground being as dry as it was. It started to burn down as deep as a foot. The last time there was a fire in the ledges was about 20 years ago, and that required air support. So we're very fortunate this time that wasn't required. I don't have an idea yet of potential cost of it. I am anticipating, again, that there will not be a cost to it, but I can't guarantee that. The communities I've spoken to at this point do not intend on doing any building. So that's where that sits. And then regarding that, as far as mutual aid goes, do you want, I had a chance to talk to the Tucson Borough Chief. Would you like to address that at this point?
We have a letter.
Yes,
And that's
but
what-
there seemed to be a little confusion about what the letter said.
I had so much trouble reading the last letter.
Oh, before you
Yes.
get it, did they determine a cause of the fire?
Fairly sure that it was the fireworks that went off 3:30 in the morning. This is the opinion, there was some juveniles up there on the ledges setting off aerials.
Okay.
And so I'm waiting for the police report now. That hasn't been completed yet. So as soon as that's completed, they're gonna give me a call and we'll find out what they know about it.
Okay. I had so much trouble reading the stuff for the SB. You got a shot?
Sure. We got a letter from Ossipee Valley Mutual Aid
Is
Association.
that what you're talking about, Brad?
Okay. Dear Board of Selectmen, has come to the attention of the Ossipee Valley Mutual Aid Association that incorrect information may have been given to your board. In a public comment referenced how the town of Brookfield receives mutual aid from neighboring departments. Currently, the town of Wakefield is providing your emergency service coverage for fire and EMS coverage. The town of Wakefield is a member of the Ossipee Valley Mutual Aid Association and currently pays $5,000 in yearly dues. This gives them access to mutual aid apparatus as well as manpower from neighboring departments, as well as access to dispatching at Carroll County Sheriff's Office, along with access to Carroll County Hazmat Team. To be a full member of OVMAA, the town must have a fire truck that meets all class requirements, and a fire department must be able to respond to certified members. The town of Brookfield has no fire department with certified members or fire apparatus that meets the mutual aid standards. We are aware that your town has a forestry department and a truck, but this would not qualify your town to be eligible to apply to the mutual aid for membership. To give an example, in 2016, when your town had a large 2-day brush fire, it was through the town of Wakefield that your town received its mutual aid assistance. That's from Adam Thompson.
We received that letter mid-August. So, do you want to comment on that?
Sure, I had a chance to talk with Chief Thompson about that, who is Adam Thompson's chief of Tucson Borough Fire and also chairman of the OVMAA. And what he's saying in a nutshell is Brookfield does not qualify for mutual aid. Any mutual aid that we get comes through our contract with Wakefield. As simple as that. So on the forest fires where they're not necessary, where they're the town's responsibility, we get the mutual aid because Wakefield comes in and calls for it. I don't believe as the warden, if we had a large fire, I could just get on the radio to
Carol and say, send in all the mutual aid. I could request the department, so it would be up to them whether they come or not, and whether they charge or not. Whereas when I contact Wakefield, or Wakefield is contacted, they come over because of their membership in the association. They bring the mutual aid. What does mutual aid do? It does all of that. When they say gives you, or gives them the ability to use Carroll Dispatch, even though we have radios and a call sign, it's through their good graces that they allow us to use it. And for the number of transmissions we do a year, like on this fire, it would have been 3 days out of 365. They're very generous to us. If we wanted to join, we get our own radio frequency, we can get our own pagers and everything else. I don't think that's necessary.
Okay.
And we wouldn't qualify because we don't have a fire department or the appropriate apparatus, right?
Right, but I think we could join as associate members.
Oh, okay,
That's how
so,
the ambulance services are, they join as associate members.
oh, I see, okay.
Which I believe means, I could be wrong, don't hold me to this, but I believe it means it's a non-voting position, but they get their own pager tones and stuff like
Okay.
that.
Gotcha.
And that's, I believe, 2,500 a year. Does that clarify the letter for you?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Emergency management director, Mr. Chairman. Has any more thought been given to updating the emergency management plan and taking advantage of the federal grant to pay for such?
Walk through for Rick and maybe Brian how this process works. You went through it?
Yeah, he's through last year. The town has an emergency management plan on how to handle emergencies, small and large scale, when they occur, be it something within the town or more locally or regionally. The plan needs to be updated periodically. I believe it's every 5 years. The last time our plan was updated was 1991.
Why does it have to be updated every 5 years?
Because the federal government says so.
Okay.
And it's a good document, it's a planning tool. Instead of waiting till the event happens, then running around saying, what do we do now? It's a roadmap of everything to do, everyone that's involved, and so forth. The feds require it done every 5 years. It's about $5,000 to produce the plan, or I can say it is $5,000 to produce the plan. And the federal government has a grant of $5,000 to go towards the plan. So it's basically a walk. The plan is actually a little over 5,000, but there's multiple town hearings, there's a committee set up for it and so forth. And so the town does a soft match of all that time.
Tell us what that means, please.
Soft match means that there is a dollar value attached to every hour that the town puts in. And that dollar value is put towards the project, towards the grant. But we don't have to put any money forward because we're putting away. Does that make sense to me?
Yes.
Okay.
So, when you have these work sessions,
Yes,
when the public shows up,
yes.
each person gets credit for how many, could you?
Gets credit for the number of hours that they're here at whatever the current match rate is, 10 or 12 or $15 an hour, I don't know.
And we're shooting for the 2,500.
Yes. Yep. Now, the thing to that is technically, if we don't have a current plan, we're not eligible for federal money if there's an emergency. If Texas or Florida or whatever were to happen in New England, and we sustained considerable damage, technically the feds wouldn't have to help us because we don't have a current plan. That's their own rule. If you don't have a current plan to be paid for, you can't get our money. So that is something that we haven't discussed for quite a while. I thought I'd bring it forward again. I don't need an answer this minute, but just get the topic on the table again.
We'll make it a business for next time.
Sure.
Now, if it would help, I can have either one of the plan writers show up, or I can have the, and/or our emergency management contact to explain any bits and pieces of it.
The problem I had going through we did this 4 or 5 years ago for the hazard mitigation plan.
Yep, whole hazard mitigation plan.
We couldn't get public participation. We were scrambling to get public participation to get the hours for the 2,500. To the point where if you were warm, breathing, come to the meeting. So there was that much public support. That's just my comment. And well, I'll give you more comments, because I'm biased on this one. And we fill in a spreadsheet for this woman on her computer, and she goes away and fills out the boilerplate, and we pay her $5,000. So it works. Heavy sigh, heavy sigh. Or we can talk about it, think about it, we'll talk about it.
Sounds like a sham.
Yes.
Many, many years ago, I attempted to update the plan on my own. Once you become a professional at it, it's fairly easy. When you're walking in as an office, I got about 4 days into it and said, no.
Okay. Understand. We'll talk about it in detail in 2 weeks. Oh, Ed, you've got a comment.
Well, it's just a question. If all of our emergency responses come from Wakefield as of now, and I know they completed their emergency management,
Correct.
they did. Are we wound into that somehow?
No, we are not.
So we're not mentioned at all, but they supply us with the equipment and manpower if there's an emergency. I'm just wondering how that works.
Wakefield provides fire, police, and ambulance, but we have Public Service or Eversource that's involved. We have New England Co-op that's involved, just to mention the utility companies, the one over in Wolfboro that does Pleasant Valley Road. And also, I think they probably do Broderick's too, up at the other end of Cottle Hill. So there's those, there's other state agencies that are involved. Could be state highway, state police, emergency management, so forth and so on. Each plan is unique to each community. Everybody has different concerns, demands. We don't have a school to worry about, we don't have a hospital to worry about, we don't have any churches to worry about. So there's a lot of components that we don't need to put in that other communities do.
Is it all the same cost? Is Wakefield's more expensive than ours since ours is of a limited nature because we don't have all those other services?
I don't believe so, and I think we're basically at the minimum level. Now, if you're talking a major metropolitan area, one of the cities and towns such as Manchester, Nashville, whatever, I'm sure they pay a lot more than we do. But I think we're at the entry level.
So about 4 years ago, we did a detailed hazard mitigation plan. What's happened to that? We had a lot of action items in there.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about that in 2 weeks. Have we followed through on the action plans from the $5,000 investment 4 years ago?
Because that, well, if that was 4 years ago, we guessed, I think it was 3, if it's 4. That's due for renewal in another year, and we have to provide.
I'd like to revisit, we should revisit if we're investing $5,000. Did we follow through on all the action items that were in that document?
Correct, we should visit it on an annual basis. The board should be signing off on it. It's something that I have not pushed with the board, realizing you have as much to do as you do. It's just-
You should push it.
Okay.
But I'm showing my bias, because we put the money in, we put the time in,
Yeah.
and it's collecting dust. And it just bothers me when we do things like that.
Does the $5,000 come out of our pocket again, or is it
We
paid for by our federal tax dollars?
federal tax dollar. Well, it'd be 0 to the 10. We have to front the money, and then we get it back.
Okay.
So it's a wash to the town. Yes.
And I would encourage the board to, if we do decide to take the grant money, we do have a grant review committee, and if we can be forwarded that grant, we could quickly go through it and submit it if that's the decision. Grant review committee.
Is it a grant?
Okay.
Yes.
It's a federal grant of $5,000.
But we did that.
note.
We talked about it.
We
I'm not
gave,
sure.
we gave the grant committee the website that detailed, we gave the grant committee the URL that detailed the details, that provided the details to that grant.
Yes.
Yes, we did. Okay, sorry, I remember that one.
Okay.
Was the
I
URL?
remember an email from her, but it was asking me for information.
Came from me.
I don't
Look for,
remember.
look me,
We need to streamline that, so we can
Yeah,
streamline the process, so we can just go through grants.
so there was URL detailed all that out for you guys.
okay.
All right, anything else?
I'm all set.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you. And next meeting,
Pardon me?
next meeting?
Yeah, 2
On the
weeks,
agenda.
2 weeks. Anything else for old business? I can bring up an easy one.
Okay.
Coffee at the end of the month.
Yes.
That's easy. Let's have the coffees at the end of the month.
Sure.
And I suggest we do 7:30 to 10:30 and make that our office hours.
7:30 on a Saturday?
Well, well, wait a minute now. If someone's gonna put the coffee on,
Oh, okay, so we will get here and get, but.
while you're here for the coffee, is, someone's.
So the actual coffee hours would probably be like 9?
8 to 10 maybe?
Nice, nice.
9.
Yeah,
9 to 10:30?
What do you think?
I'm jammed until 9 on Saturdays.
You're what?
I'm jammed up until 9.
Oh, okay. So you wanna go 9 to what? For coffee?
9 to 10?
What do you want to do for coffee?
I can't get here till 9. If you guys want to start early, great. I'll stay late. If you want to cover the hour.
He'll wash the dishes.
Yeah, we can do 8 to 10.
All right,
Say
8.
coffee's going on at 8, and, people can arrive, as they see fit, but coffee's not gonna be ready until 8
Yeah, well, coffee is 8 to 10.
Okay.
But what are our hours? 8 to 11, 8 to 10:30, 8 to 10?
8 to 10.
8 to 10. You gotta find us when you're drinking coffee,
Yeah.
all right?
Okay.
So we're gonna change the posting out front. That's gonna be our office hours. 8 to 10, last Saturday of the month with coffee.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
Very quick. Can I suggest that you add, well, one state rep will be there. Perhaps we can invite all the state reps to be there, and we can have that on the posting.
That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
state reps.
Just get exposure to you folks.
Are you speaking for one or four?
I'm just speaking for myself.
Okay.
We can just invite them, and if they come, they come.
Okay.
I'm just so the public knows that their state reps will be available, along with the select.
Okay, we can send a blurb to all the reps, our reps, indicating we'll be having coffee. They're invited to attend to socialize with the public.
So September 30th is the first one of the new schedule?
One you may not want to publicize, Rich, but consider would be to send an invitation to our governance counselor too. He's very proactive, and he may pop in from time to time, Joe Kenny, who lives right in.
Oh, the executive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
executive council lives right in Wakefield. So like I said, I'm not sure when to publicize.
Sure.
but we'd like him.
Right, why not? I can bend his ear.
He's a nice guy.
I've always have input on something. Yeah, so are you gonna draft a letter for us, please? To the reps and Kenny, Joe Kenny?
Joe Kenny.
He's the executive counselor, yes?
Yep.
Just so we're having it, they're more than welcome to stop by. And, thank you.
You could add the county commissioners too.
We could.
Oh, everybody can come.
There'll be no public, but there'll be a lot of officers.
Who's running for
They'll come
office?
in March.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
February.
we'll see them all, what's the election? I guess another topic that I'd like to bring up is the Service Review Committee documentation.
That was submitted.
That was submitted in June. We've reviewed it. I've had some input from the public on it. I don't know if you folks have, it's been on the website. What are your druthers with this?
Wakefield has seen it.
Yeah, Wakefield has seen it. They had it at their selectmen's meeting. I talked to the administrative assistant over there about it.
So we've seen it, we've had it, it's good data, and we'll take it under consideration.
I've had no input from the public on it, and, you know, so, I've seen it, I've read it, and a lot of data in there, but how do we utilize the data to get, you know, either negotiate our contract with Wakefield, and the school is, I don't think we can do much, at least by means of the school board, as far as how we handle the school. There's the little 4 parks and recs in there, which I talked to Collins the other day, and she and I talked about that, and she's like, there's nothing we can do on that. She's like, that's the rate, and if you guys want to take it, if not, that's what we can do.
So,
Okay. So, sounds like we're tabling it.
yes.
We're not gonna take any action on it this year.
Nothing we can do.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right, we'll table it. You take it off the website. And the last thing I had is just maintenance around here, like trees. How do we want to handle it? We have some trees that are dying, if not dead.
Predominantly in the front over here, the pines are all rotted. It's gonna be one storm, we're gonna have them scattered every which way
On town property?
on the town property.
Out by the kiosk.
This whole side of the trees is dead or dying.
It got sap on my windshield and my car.
And there's a big ash tree out there that's gonna come down because of.
It's sad everywhere this year.
So, I think we have a local tree contractor that we use for stuff. I think we should get them over here and give us a bid.
A bid for removal or an evaluation of the trees?
Oh, no, there's no evaluation, they're dead.
They're dead.
Yeah, they need to come down.
And get a bid for removal.
You want, who,
Royal, right?
yeah,
Do you want to get a bid from Urban as well?
I'm not familiar with that company.
In Rochester,
in Rochester, yeah.
pretty cost-effective company.
I've dealt with both of them, and my personal opinion would be worthwhile for the town to go to Urban also.
Urban.
Urban,
Yeah, like-
Urban, U-R-B-A-N. They're right off of Spalding Turnpike.
Yes, I now recognize it.
Do you want, I'll contact Urban, you contact Royal, and we'll get some numbers.
Sure. We can do that. We should mark the trees first, so we're together on the trees that are coming. So, I mean, they've been up a while, so let's do that. Let's do that either coffee morning, or, yeah, let's do a coffee morning. We want to mark the trees.
Okay.
They've been up for years.
How do you want to mark them? Do you want to
We'll
get
put some tape,
some, just,
or paint them or something, so we're talking the same trees.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, we can do that at that meeting.
Okay.
That's what I have. You folks have anything?
Just with regard to new business, I've reported Peter Donnelly's injury claim within the right of way to Primex. Primex has been handling that. I'm maintaining myself as point person on that general liability claim.
All right.
Okay. And yes, you have a question, Brad?
No, I was just gonna say, we have an opportunity, I'd like to revisit the forestry report for a moment. Brian just reminded me of that.
Oh.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
We did have one injury on the fire. The nice thing about it is even though the town pays our forestry personnel, the state of New Hampshire covers all workers' compensation liability. So we don't have to worry about that at all. Because we're also technically agents of the state. So they cover that for us.
Okay.
Just wanted to clarify that.
Thanks, Brad.
Anything else? We have some signatures we have to put on some paper requests. We have a piece of mail here from, and we have to pay, we have to do a,
I have no other bills. You have
we
no
have to
other
do a
bills?
manifest.
You have no other bills?
Yeah.
I'll print this.
So while you're doing that, we've got a letter from the state of New Hampshire Planning Community Assistance, and they're encouraging our participation in the sessions they have to talk about their 5-year plan. And there's a schedule here, when and where it's going to be held. It's not clear to me which one will we go to, what district we are. There's one in Rochester, but the last time I went, we went to Wakefield.
Oh, these are the hearings,
Yeah.
scheduled, right?
Your Highway District 3.
Your Highway District 3. Kingston Community, we're not going to Kingston.
Is it,
District 5.
this has the executive council on these.
And here's the location of the public hearing schedule for the 10-year plan. They come up with a 10-year plan for roads,
Right.
and they come around and they have hearings and get input from people. I went to one in Wakefield 4 or 5 years ago.
Right.
People come up from the planning board, Stratford Regional Planning Board,
Yeah.
and DOT's there, and they take your input.
Well, we got Rochester, we got Conway.
So we're gonna find out when it is, if we want to go. Looks like it's in the evening. No,
We go there.
go to Earl.
No, that's all I got.
No?
Yeah, we are in the evening.
The Executive Council, if they're doing it by that district, runs from here to Pittsburgh,
He's all the way up, yeah.
all the way to Connecticut.
And Joe's been up to Pittsburgh several times.
Nothing in Wakefield?
Nothing in Wakefield.
That's interesting, okay. All right, so let's see, what do we have to?
We have bank statements I've already signed.
We've looked at those.
Signed my abatements.
We signed them already?
Yeah.
Diana said we signed each one twice?
Yes, there's two. The paper clips is here. She has them. I think you just flip.
Ooh. Thank you.
Do you want, I can read the check manifest?
Is, I don't know how we do this. I guess you can do that.
She just said, we go over check manifest, we're gonna, for 14 checks. This is for expenses.
Hey, Mary Lou, come help us. How do we handle the manifest?
All right, so I'm gonna read and say, we have 14 checks on a manifest for, you can check those AP, which stands for
Accounts payable.
accounts payable, thank you. Let's make sure that's what it was. The total amount of these 14 transactions is $36,498.09.
And that's it.
And that's all I think we need to do, right? That's it.
Yeah.
So I will sign.
And we looked at them all, and we want to pay them all.
Yes. There's some extra.
This, yeah, these two didn't get on because I didn't have them until I got here, so that's in the second.
So there's a total of 4. Do you have to sign each package twice?
There's a second accounts payable manifest. 2 checks on this one for $2,044.35. Yeah, this is a check manifest without checks though, so that's fine. These are just bills to be paid. Okay, good enough. And the last check manifest is payroll, total of 13 checks for a total of $12,395.42.
I'll give it to you.
$12,395.24. No, excuse me, 42 cents.
Thank you.
Okay.
Because that was a timber calculation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the other one that's a check. On that one.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't sign it.
No, you signed one.
So now, that's what we do now. That's what we do now. That's what we do now.
I believe so. Trying to simplify your life.
Well, yeah, but that means the public has to look at the website to see. Okay, so now there's checks here to be signed. We can-
Yes, for payroll and one for one other check.
That goes to Diana. See, we could be signing these to a blue in the face, right?
Where I sign, I'm signing. Signatures first.
This is a new process. sign the checks later.
It's fine, I was just doing it while you were dealing with it.
There was another manifest, wasn't
There were three.
There's-
I think you read them all.
There's one more here, it's coming, she's signed checks.
there? Okay.
Did you want to review, I already reviewed bank statements before we even started.
Something else?
Don't you sign the manifest?
Yeah, I want to sign the checks later.
Okay.
I've seen you forever, signing checks.
Yeah.
What do you get back, Mary Lou? You get the
I
manifest,
got the manifest and the bills.
and then the checks stay with us?
I'll pass out the checks, yeah.
I don't need to pass out the checks. They're not signed.
Once they're signed.
Oh. So what we're doing is here, as part of our process, we're checking them. These are our bank accounts. There's no funny checks here, no transfers that we don't understand. That's what we're looking for. And if there's transfers, it's between the Meredith Savings Bank and another Meredith account. Yeah, like this one. It's transferred to another account.
Usually what I do is put my initials that I'm the one that did it.
So that's the school board, 176.
Yeah, it matches it right there.
Yep.
Matches it.
And Mary Lou saves all these in a very organized file, I want to say.
I do. I have a notebook.
Yes, you do. If someone wants to see a bank statement from any month,
So was the account able to fix the MS 535?
Don't know that yet. Just working on it.
that's the last one, that's just,
Because
we used to take all the deposits of money in Wolfboro. And we're paying mileage to get to Wolfboro. So now most of the money, about all the money goes into the profile bank 2 miles away.
Right.
And we transfer it electronically. As opposed to driving over yonder.
there's one check in there to sign and then the bills you need to initial.
I'm sorry, tell me again?
There's one check in there to sign and then the bills we need to initial.
Do we initial the bills? Do we initial the bills now?
Wouldn't we?
You probably don't need to
No.
because you have the manifest.
Okay, then I want to initial bills. Okay.
In the treasurer's RSA, because we've been there last year, remember?
Yes.
There is a detailed description on how we're supposed to handle payment of bills. And either we can do it like we were doing in the past, and we read them and we initial them, or we just bless the manifest is the way I remember it.
Yes.
I think that makes sense. So me signing the bills was overkill.
Yes, you should check these.
All right, but you still gotta sign a check, that's what I'm getting at.
Put that check sign down.
Oh, well, I just don't want it to go back and not have signatures on it. I get the manifest thing, we don't need to sign the bills because the manifest is.
He wants the top check signed,
And you
Please.
get this,
And I think I have to sign it too.
top one.
So Brad, town history, who has the electronic file of the town history, the book? I've asked it before.
is it on floppy disk?
Yes.
It
may be.
Sign all these now.
This
I need to
guy.
find
Top
out
check is signed.
where the
Actually, it was
electronic-
Sign all the
Probably my
manifests.
hard drive
No,
is done.
just sign this manifest.
If you check with Craig,
Yeah, there were supposed to be 3.
I don't know if it's manifest or not.
So
I don't believe so.
This, these are all the bills.
you're gonna put the check,
Janet and I published the book. So if it exists.
Yeah, for this manifest, those checks will in the box.
I wondered if there was any chance,
We'll sign those
since
checks.
Lois Hall was the editor, she might have a copy.
Well,
But probably
what do you
not the
mean?
final copy.
She doesn't have checks for these bills yet.
no, these
She would
other
have each
checks.
final
Alright.
signature, I guess you call it each
So I just
chapter.
get them and give them back to us.
I'm not sure she'd have it. It's the assembled document.
Right.
We put it together.
I'm flipping them back down to sign checks.
It's in page maker
You can
5.
sign that if you want.
It was in the publishing software package.
Or whatever.
I can't hear what the selectmen are saying.
Brian doesn't wanna come back.
Doesn't wanna come back?
He doesn't.
We're discussing whether or not we're gonna sign checks tonight, or the checks that are part of this manifest will go into the box and we come back and sign whatever we want. I said, I'm here, I'm signing checks. They're debating whether or not they're just going to come back and sign or not.
So you can watch us sign 20 checks.
We're gonna support you, Brian.
Hey, do what you want, eh?
If
This is the first time we've done manifest, so we're gonna have to work the bugs out on this.
I think we have. I think we're all clear now.
Do you vote to actually accept the manifest tonight?
Yes.
Do we vote to accept the bills when we sign them?
We haven't done,
Yes.
it's the manifest, we have to make a motion to.
I read the three manifest out, so I'll make a motion once you guys have been.
I usually hear a total in other towns. Can you just at least give us a
You mean a gross, I totaled up, I gave you totals on all three.
Some of those are paper clip that I didn't check.
No.
Yeah, we can go slow on that.
Do they?
No, not that I saw. We'll give it back if you want. Mary Lou, there's been a request that we read the manifest totals again for the public.
Sure.
And then Brian's gonna make a motion that we accept those manifests.
All right. The accounts payable manifest, $36,498.09. That's a total of 14 checks. There's another accounts payable manifest with 2 checks to be written on this for $2,044.35. And then we have the payroll manifest, total of 13 checks. The total of that manifest is $12,395.42. I make a motion that we accept the 3 manifests as drafted.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I think I got all mail. Not much more mail. Nothing here to be signed.
Are you done with the bank statements? We'll take them.
We're all set.
Any other checks you would like us to sign this evening? Mary Lou?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So we took care of that.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll take it.
When I saw that, I'm looking for
So I'm
mine.
going to do it now.
Sure. Unless I get the bottom back.
I think Jessica's got chip in too.
Yep.
Mary, who would like the bottom of that check back? That goes to Mary Lou, right?
Yes.
Oh. Goes to Mary Lou, that is, gotta be careful what I do with that, huh? Is that it, folks?
I believe so.
I have an announcement.
Are there any announcements?
I have an announcement.
Sorry.
The county farm, or now it's called the County Lands Committee, has formed, and they're going to have a listening session this Saturday, starting at 1 o'clock. It's going to basically ask the public what they would like to see happen with the county land. There's 800-plus acres to decide what to do about. And so again, it's Saturday at 1 p.m. up at the county complex where we have the delegation meetings of the second floor. And the public's invited. We're talking about a very large portion of the town's bills, tax bills, so it would behoove townspeople and people who are concerned about the land and how it's going to be used to visit and enjoy the listening session.
Okay.
Thank you. Government Oversight will be there taping.
Of course.
Thank you.
Is there an end to that meeting, or is it one on, or is it a scheduled end?
There'll be several listening sessions. We're having the first one up at the county complex. We're gonna have another one in, I believe it's Moultonboro, and some of the other towns are gonna rotate it.
Same agenda each session?
Correct, and that's not the end of it, because the committee will continue to meet and look through the data that they collected and come up with a roadmap of what the public wants to do with the land.
Thank you. Okay, meeting's adjourned, folks. See you in 2 weeks. Not tomorrow.